Hi, welcome to the Ascent of Mount Carmel YouTube channel. This channel is devoted to a reading and better understanding of the book Ascent of Mount Carmel, written by St. John of the Cross. In early installments we discussed Book 1 of Ascent of Mount Carmel, and today we're starting Book 2. St. John describes the first book as the book of the senses. The second book deals with faith. In the first book of Ascent of Mount Carmel, we learned how to discipline our actions. We stopped indulging our attachments in our creatures. St. John called this the purgation of the senses. The progress didn't only deal with our actions. St. John instructed us to also discipline our wills and minds along with our bodies so that we can purge ourselves of the desires for the creatures and attachments. The first book required a sort of asceticism that took us out of our comfort zone, and it involved a certain level of discomfort. This discomfort involved a sort of withdrawal. It had happened every time we withdrew from a creature. It was uncomfortable because every time we did this, we lost something that had been very important to us. We suddenly had new available time, and with that added time, we were able to devote our attention on something else, and that would be God. The second book doesn't involve the exact same type of discomfort, but it'll still be more difficult than even the first. Just as the first book involved a sort of physical discomfort, the second book involves a discomfort because it's going to be something that might not be natural to us because we're going to do things that we haven't been doing our entire lives. The second book of Ascent of Mount Carmel will involve spiritual and mental discipline on our behalf. With the first book of Ascent of Mount Carmel, which involved the purgation of the senses, we should have achieved a certain satisfaction that we deepened our relationship with God. If we followed St. John's instructions and clung to orthodoxy and remained like a child, it meant we weren't demanding answers to life's great questions from God. Yet as we purged our desires, many answers to many questions that we had earlier came to us. We had certain minor revelations, and our knowledge grew. And as time passes, this will continue. We'll look back on our former perspectives and they'll seem almost alien to us. Many of us will see that our former perspectives were really colored by pride. St. John assures us that as we progress through Book 2, our happiness and joy is going to increase because we're going to overcome the relatively difficult task of putting to rest our spiritual imperfections and desires. We are about to enter an even darker night of the soul, which adds an interior darkness. When we achieve this darkness, we're going to rely upon pure faith alone, which will enable our ascent toward God. This will be explained by St. John of the Cross further as we progress through book number 2. With the second book, we're at midnight. And according to St. John, the dark night of the second book is darker than the first part of the night because it's more obscure and esoteric. As you know from your own experience, that when we're outside, even on the darkest night, we can still see things because there's still some light there. And that's the way it was with the first part of the night. Even though we darkened ourselves to our desires, the neon, the glitter of the world, there was still enough light from the outside world that it still affected our reasoning and understanding. But with the second part of the night, which is the night of faith, we're going to deprive the soul of all outside light. Not only will we have darkened our senses, but now we must darken ourselves to everything in regard to our understanding. The second book begins with the second stanza of Dark Night of the Soul.
In darkness and secure, by the secret ladder, disguised, O happy chance. In darkness and in concealment, my house be now at rest.
St. John explains the meaning of this and says that the soul celebrates the happy chance that was able to cast off all spiritual imperfections and desires for possessing spiritual things. St. John refers to our progress as a secret ladder because it can't be seen or understood through our senses. He says that the soul is disguised because its garments and its natural condition are changed into the divine as it ascends by faith. Because of this disguise, it is not recognized or impeded either by time or by reason or by the devil, because none of these things can harm us when we journey in faith. St. John tells us that when we travel in such a way, we are concealed and hidden from all the deceits of the devil. For that reason, we travel in darkness and in concealment. We will leave behind all natural imaginings and spiritual reasoning and journey securely, our house now being at rest. This means our spiritual and natural faculties and reasoning are at rest, as are our impulses and the yearnings of our senses.
St. John advises us that the things he'll set forth in the coming chapters are of great importance. Though they may seem a bit obscure and esoteric at first, they're going to pave way for future steps and concepts, and they're going to become clearer as we move forward. Well, I hope you're enjoying my book report, and we'll be back next week with Chapter 2 of the second book. Please pray for the church.
Don't have to be a richer man